Back in 2017, the Minnesota State Legislature updated rules related to development in the Mississippi River Corridor critical area, which runs through the Twin Cities. Recently, local cities, including Coon Rapids, were required to adopt new standards.
Minnesota is the headwaters of the Mississippi. They feel it's very important for us to preserve the quality of this water, and they do that through controlling the construction that goes along and any work that goes along the shorelines, the bluff lines along the Mississippi River.
The Mississippi River Corridor critical area, which was designated as such back in 1976, stretches for 72 miles from the cities of Ramsey and Dayton down to Hastings and Ravenna Township. It includes 54,000 acres of land along both sides of the river.
Most of these rules relate to those property owners that live along the river or own property along the river. Most of it is private residential homes. There are some public institutions, for example, Anoka Ramsey Community College is along the river. They're also subject to these rules.
The three big changes include new design standards for acceptable river access, including paths, stairways, water-oriented structures, patios, and decks. Specific definitions have been developed for things like bluff line and bluff impact zone. And finally, permits are now required for certain land alterations and vegetation removal.
Previously, we didn't really have a permitting requirement if someone was going to do some fairly significant work along the river, whether that's vegetation removal, putting in riprap, a retaining wall. We didn't really have a process for doing that. So this will now require a permit if you're going to be doing any of that kind of work.
The DNR created a model ordinance to help cities update their own ordinances to align with the new regulations.
Anything that was legally established prior to the updated ordinance will be considered a legal nonconformity if it doesn't meet the new standards. And so there are protections under state law for legal nonconformities.
To comply with DNR requirements, the Coon Rapids City Council adopted an updated zoning ordinance for the critical area in the fall of 2022.
So the City Council, we need to adopt them and make them part of the city ordinances because we'll be responsible for the permitting and for the enforcement.
A lot of the changes, I think, are really related to permitting, clarification about rules. Things like structure setbacks are not changing. So I think it's important for people to understand that this is really updating and modernizing our ordinance. But I don't know that there's drastic changes that we're making to it.
In the end, everyone along the 72-mile corridor hopes the changes will help protect a gem so it's around for generations to come. If you'd like to learn more about the changes or find information on development standards and permitting requirements, just log on to the city's website, coonrapidsmn.gov/MRCCA.